And coaching mistake.
Opinion.
The customer is the one who decides when the future gets here.
Oh, no! The ship is on fire!
You have to check the report.
Are you kidding me?
That game was fixed.
And overall infotainment.
I'll take Jim Harbaugh.
What has he done?
Crazy cootie coming at you.
Quiet, please. In exactly 15 seconds, we'll be on the air.
Thanks, big fella.
Don't you ever come back here again.
No arguments. Those are called ass tunes.
So buckle up.
You talking to me?
It's time for The Drive with Jack Ebling.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Great afternoon, Mid-Michigan and beyond, and welcome to The Drive with Jack, the Spotlight Radio Network. The rain finally stopped. Seemed like it was never going to. Here with my producer, Alex Hewart. Alex, before we go out to our guest line, I want to ask you a baseball question. Miguel Cabrera now with home run 499. He is one away. And I know at least three Miggy diehards who are going to be at the game Friday night, who are hoping that they will see history made. Would you like to do that? Would that matter to you if someone said, hey, you got a great chance to see Miguel Cabrera hit home run number 500?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I haven't really been following too much or watching too much, but I'll be watching the next few games until he finally hits number 500 because you got to see that one live, especially if you're a diehard Tigers fan.
Yeah. Members of the media are not used to buying tickets, right? We're used to getting them for free or credentials or something, usually. But for someone who is... You don't normally go to games, cover them in a press box. I think we've done a couple things where you've been with me once at Chicago for Champions Classic, that kind of thing. But would you pay more than face value for a good seat to see Miggy?
If it aligned with my schedule, definitely. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I don't know if I would cancel things, to make it happen. But if you had an opening in the schedule and it worked out, yeah, I'd pay over face value But I mean, like I said, I wouldn't shuffle things around because you can always watch it from the comfort of your home.
All right, let's go out to our guest line, a guy who probably is not going to be watching Miguel Cabrera any more than normal. He'd much rather be watching the NBA Summer League. I get that. Deshaun Tate, normally with us on Tuesdays, on Thursday this week, did a little flip, and he is our Lansing-bred, Atlanta, South Florida, sometimes Detroit, sometimes who knows where based basketball savant. It's Tate's Take Hoops, where basketball lives. How are you, Deshaun?
No, I'm outstanding, Jack, and I'll peek in from time to time on Miggy. I might take a peek at it, but no, you're absolutely right. I'm probably not fooling anybody when I say I've got my eyes glued to Summer League and seeing what's happening within it, and It's certainly been enjoyable, but you know what? I've been spoiled a couple times with credentialing and so forth, where I haven't really had to pay too much money for a ticket. But if it's something pretty big time, I'll come out of my pocket a little bit, Jack.
Okay.
I'll come out, especially if it's Michigan State. I'll come out of pocket for that.
In Atlanta, obviously, you're there for the Hawks and a lot of college basketball. But do you ever go and watch the Braves or the Falcons play?
From time to time.
Okay.
So I think Lions are coming in this year.
Oh, okay.
I might go try and go check out my Lions, but it's been so long since I've had a chance to go check out a Tigers game. Ironically enough, I'm in Detroit right now, so I might stick around to go and check out one of these Tigers games, or maybe Pistons one day, or even Lions. It's been so long.
Yeah, when you say your Lions, you're actually going to admit that?
I'll admit it.
A lot of Lions fans, they're kind of sheepish. They don't wear that much Lions clothing around.
I admit it. No, I admit it. You know what's funny about it is there's a huge group of us, some of them I'm sure that you know, there in Atlanta. I used to run the Detroit Lions fan club of Atlanta down there, and you would be surprised how much the turnout of people were. It started with about 8 of us. Then we got to a point where we were averaging somewhere close to about almost 200 people per watch party. So there's a little bit more than you'd think. Yeah, there's quite a bit of us there.
Well, nobody was actually born in Atlanta, right? Didn't everybody come from somewhere? Isn't Atlanta one of those cities that leads
Melting
the
pot.
nation in migration?
Yeah. It is definitely a melting pot. But you know what? It's the congregation of the people when you start touching base and finding out who's Lions fans and everybody, and then start connecting dots. You find out that the world is a whole lot smaller than you actually knew.
All right. I want to talk about Summer League. And what's the number one story? What's the most interesting storyline coming out of these summer games?
Wow, yeah. I don't know. I think, I don't know. I know that the LiAngelo Ball, I don't think that's the biggest story for me, but I know that has been pretty big, quite a bit. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the play of, the top draft picks and so forth, that's been a pretty big deal as well. So I'm not sure that there's anything necessarily eye-popping per se, but it has definitely been the performances that you have seen from your Jalen Suggs and your Jalen Green, and, Cade Cunningham had some good stints in there, Evan Mobley as well.
Are there any first-round picks who aren't signed and won't be playing?
First-round picks who are not signed and won't be playing?
Yeah. Are they all under contract now?
Yeah, I think I'm not positive. I don't want to just give an answer for the sake of giving it, but I think everybody's pretty much, for the most part, pretty sold up.
Yeah, and I would think there would be incentive to Sean to be sewn up, because as soon as you sign, you start getting paid. Not that they haven't been getting advance money from agents to live, but still, you get that contract, and that's a little bit different neighborhood than you're used to. In terms of teams, I see some teams, and they really seem to care about this, and other teams couldn't care less whether they win or lose. They're just looking at certain individual development. The other guys are just kind of there. Can you tell from which franchises really want to win these games and develop that kind of a mindset?
A little bit. I'm still trying to figure out who some of those are.
Yeah.
But definitely a little bit. I've definitely seen the one that sticks out to me more than so many others is how competitive Cleveland has really went out to be in these games, and playing a lot of guys who maybe feel like they didn't necessarily have to play in some of them, and some are just kind of so-so, just don't go out there and get hurt, but definitely be competitive. I'm not sure that there's any that exist that just absolutely don't care at all. Just let us get some glimpses of you.
Yeah.
But I do think that there are definitely some teams that want to win. Now, how bad of the extent are they trying to go to make sure that they win? They probably shouldn't. I'm not sure a ton of them do. But Cleveland definitely sticks out like a sore thumb, like one that wants to do a little bit more than just compete.
All right. I want to talk about the Pistons, obviously, and Motorcade, Cade Cunningham, who, as the number one overall pick, was playing in the same backcourt with Killian Hayes. Mm-hmm. I guess they have to get that down. If you have two guys who are used to having the ball, there's only one ball. So in terms of what that means and how important that might be to the Pistons compared to some other teams, with all the young players Detroit has, is Summer League more valuable?
I don't think necessarily more valuable. I mean, I think that the value that it does have is to be able to see so many of these guys and that are going to play such huge parts next year, which I think is another part of what Cleveland has tried to do, but in Orlando as well. But trying to get so many of those guys that have had such heavy roles to get out there and get their legs up under them. It kind of reminds me, perfect example. I mean, we know that the rookies and things like that are going to play, but how much of the guys that have already 1 or 2 years into the league are not playing in the Summer League that probably should? I'll give you a prime example since I'm dealing with this in Atlanta. A guy like a Cam Reddish who said, I think that the 3 or 4 games coming off of a month on top of month long injury, the little window of opportunity that I had to be able to show what I could do was enough, and I don't need to go out there and play Summer League. Well, if you pay close attention, you know that he's a guy that needs to go out there and play Summer League.
Oh, yeah.
And the Hawks went ahead and agreed with him on that and decided to keep him out of Summer League, and I'm not really sure that that's something that they could really afford.
And why did they do that?
They agreed with Cam Reddish in the sense of they don't necessarily feel like that it's anything that could necessarily help him after the kind of performance that he had, feeling like he's been so sharp coming right out of the playoffs, and then maybe that the summer league would not benefit him nearly as much.
Well, I saw Xavier Tillman, and X is playing in all these games for Memphis.
Correct.
Correct. He played more games this year than Cam Reddish did.
Correct. Desmond Bain, and not only that, but looked better than Cam Reddish on top of that. And we're talking about guys that Cam Reddish was drafted in front of in their respective classes, of course, if you will. So I don't know. That's one of those weird things. I mean, Kevin Huerter, who also was, is also playing for the Hawks, and a guy who's never been able to be healthy when preseason rolls around, let alone for training camp since he's been there in his 3 full years, going on 4 now, and hasn't participated in summer league because of injuries and so forth. And the one that he was available for and healthy enough for, which was, I think, 2 years ago, he didn't participate. And they just wanted to work on, from a defensive standpoint, work on some things with him individually instead of having him out there competing. Now, that paid off for him, and I can completely understand that. But that's not going to be the case for every player. And I got a good feeling that's probably not going to be the case for a player like Cam Reddish.
All right. I want to talk about Aaron Henry for a minute. And with the Philadelphia 76ers, it appears highly likely, if not assured, that he is going to spend the vast majority of his season in the G League. There's a chance he could get called up. Maybe might get called up a couple of times, but he's basically a G League player on a 2-way contract. What does he have to do in Summer League, and what would change people's minds or impress the Sixers?
I think the main thing is just being able to hit that jump shot consistently, specifically from deep, because there's going to be they're going to need. I understand they have a couple of shooters here and there that are already in place between Curry and I believe Danny Green, but even some inconsistencies with Danny Green from time to time, and needing a big strong guard when you don't have someone who's an X factor like a Ben Simmons to get that shot from outside, or demanding so much attention from the inside now that you've added an Andre Drummond to the front court with Joel Embiid. You're going to need somebody to be able to do that. Between that and ball handling, I think those are the two more demanding areas of the game that I think that he needs to kind of maybe not perfect, but certainly execute in a way that he has the confidence and has instilled that within not only his teammates, but obviously within the coach as well, to make them feel comfortable to put him out there.
We're talking about the Sixers Summer League team, and they are in action tonight at 9 o'clock against the Atlanta Hawks, a team that you know very well. That is a 9 o'clock game on ESPN2. If you want to check out Aaron Henry, 9 o'clock tonight, ESPN2 against the Hawks. Do you have any idea what the point spread is on this game? Yes, you can bet on Summer League games. Which team do you think would be favored, Philly or Atlanta?
I don't know. I think, the funny thing is once we start getting to a point in these Summer League games, there's going to be some of the better players that aren't going to play. So I would definitely imagine that Tyrese Maxey is going to play, but at some point he's going to hang them up.
Right.
I don't know what that number is. If I had to guess who would be the favorite in that one, I would definitely have to say Philadelphia. But the effect that the attention that guys like Jalen Johnson as well as Sharif Cooper has gotten, kind of.
I won't watch the whole game, but see how he's doing, and he did okay. The one game I saw a little bit of it, and seemed like he belonged on the court. He wasn't, just kind of running around deer in the headlights.
Sure.
But he was a little tentative and, definitely not asserting himself. He had some shots he passed up. And I wonder sometimes whether players are afraid to make a mistake in this situation. But if you're just one of the guys and you're a free agent, don't you have to do something to catch their attention?
For sure. And I think that's that fine line that you're going to have to draw in the sand and play your game, try not to do too much, because a lot of these guys are kind of looking for contracts and amongst other things. And that's the thing actually that I embrace and that I like about it, because some people say, it's just Summer League. Well, And that's like saying, well, it's just preseason football. You got a lot of guys out there who are getting their opportunities here to make dreams come true, and obviously feed families is a big part of that. And there's a lot of pressure here to make sure that you're going out there to do all the little things, make sure that you're putting the team in position to win and not trying to do anything out of the ordinary to stand out. So I think that there is certainly a fine line, but it's really entertaining. And believe it or not, I've been going to Summer League for the past, probably about 4 years or so outside of the pandemic. And they treat this thing like it's an NBA game. I mean, I remember when it was Trae Young's first Summer League and out there in Salt Lake City, and not that there's a ton to do in Salt Lake City besides watch the Jazz, but it was sold out, and when Lakers come to town in Las Vegas, they show up and they show out. It's like a real NBA game for a lot of people.
Yeah. We're talking with Deshaun Tate, basketball savant, Tate's Take Hoops, where basketball lives. And Deshaun, you took your talents to Lansing recently for a tournament that you were in Saturday. Is it safe to say you were not offered a G League contract after that?
Oh, yeah. Unless G League stands for something different than what we've seen Jonathan Kuminga and Dayshawn Nix and Jalen Green out there participating in, then I think that is pretty safe to say. But you know what? The main thing is I got some fellowship in there. Yeah. Everybody walked away. Wasn't nobody injured. It was certainly very competitive with the exception of maybe one game. And even though things didn't go the way as planned, it was still good to be able to come back home and participate in some of the events like these that I kind of grew up doing. So that was great.
Tell the truth now. Did you just let the other team win because you're used to championships and you want to give someone else that feeling?
Absolutely not. I am a Tate, and Sparty runs deep through my blood, and I have that kind of mentality, Jack. So there is no just sitting back and letting someone else win. No, we don't do that. The unfortunate part is the way that my roster or our roster was constructed is that Deshaun probably need to be one of the people to go out there and do a little bit more than just a little thing, i.e. put together a little bit more scoring combinations. Yeah. And at this current juncture, he just can't do that. But I can watch it and break it down all day for you.
All right. Summer recruiting. And when I talk to Tom Izzo next, if he said, hey, did you talk to Deshaun Tate lately? And I say, yeah, he was just on the show. Why? He says, well, I need to know what he thinks of some guys. And if he thinks I should maybe go after this guy, I know he values your basketball intellect. Who should I tell him that you've been impressed by, and whether it's on the AAU circuit or whatever, might be a good Spartan?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. I am personally going to start off with a guy that a lot of people was able to see and very familiar with by the name of Sean Phillips, who is a teammate of Imani Bates. For Bates Fundamentals, FC Prep earlier this year. I think now have transferred to Georgia. I'm pretty sure that Izzo is all over it. But, we talked a little bit, me and you, the other night about how loaded they're going to be at the point guard position and that they're going to need a little bit more beef up front. This is a guy that is super-duper strong, ridiculously strong. And I think he's certainly one of the, if not the front runner that I would consider for a team like a Michigan State, because he does have that type of mentality. He has a really good skill set, and he's just really beefy up front as well.
How tall is he, Deshaun?
Sean Phillips is easily a good, I'd say probably about 6'8" or 6'9". Okay. I feel a little bit more comfortable at 6'9".
Is he a post?
Yeah, he is. Yep. He's definitely a post player. And you know what, I'll tell you this much. His job isn't to step out there and shoot. I'm not sure anybody's is on that FC Prep team, to be honest with you, except for one guy. But he could use some work on his jump shot with some reps. And it's not a completely broken jump shot. It's something that can improve. And with the right people around him, trainers and so forth, I think that that's something that could certainly improve significantly.
All right. Anything else NBA-wise now with the free agent signings, as you've had a chance to reflect on this? We talked about the team that you liked the most, the team that still had the most work to do. Give me a winner and a loser.
I think that the winner is certainly the Chicago Bulls with everything that they've acquired.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that it's not just going to get big pieces, fairly, significantly big pieces, but it appears to be the right pieces, the right fits. I don't know if the Carmelo and Russell Westbrook, that's something that I'm not really sure that I feel extremely, I'm not really sure that I feel extremely confident to say will work out. But the Chicago roster, I do feel a little bit better about, because you got some champions that are now on that roster. We talked a little bit before about how lack thereof of confidence that we felt about the moves that the New York Knicks have made, and them going to get Kemba Walker is something that I think could help. He's not going to be the same player that he once was,
right.
But I do think that that's certainly something that that will definitely help that team. So in terms of winners and losers, and I'm going to give you one more thing.
Okay.
When we start talking about the Summer League, looking at this Brooklyn Nets Summer League team, when you have guys like Day'Ron Sharpe on that roster, you also have another guy in Cam Thomas who can score the basketball. They're going to be very, very dangerous. And as much talk as everybody gives about the Houston Rockets and Jalen Green, Josh Christopher adds something really nice to that roster as well, and he's been playing really good in the Summer League also. So just keep your eyes and your ears open for that.
And you're always promoting Josh Christopher. All right.
I know. It's going to pay off one of these days. I just can't tell you when. Hopefully I'm still alive to see it.
All right. Last question for you. Who has done a better job? Which of these three teams has gained the most, okay, in terms of their acquisition at the point? The Bulls with Lonzo Ball, the Knicks with Kemba Walker, or the Celtics with Dennis Schroeder?
Wow, that's a good question, Jack. I think on that one I'll probably go Chicago. I think I'll go Chicago with Lonzo Ball on that one. And then I also want to throw, in addition to that, getting a guy like Alex Caruso in that position as well. I think he's going to help them out quite a bit. But I do think that it is essentially Chicago. That's a little bit more fitting for him. Secondary to that, where do we have? Either Knicks or Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Knicks, but I think it's really, really close. I think it is really, really close. I think all three of them got someone that they absolutely need, especially on top of that Chicago with being able to have Zach LaVine playing a little bit more of a natural position of his, while Kobe kind of does his thing off the ball a little bit more because he's not nearly as much as a natural prototypical point guard.
Okay, sounds good. Well, enjoy your time in Detroit. And are you going to get back to Lansing at all before you return to Georgia? Take the midnight train?
I am.
You are? Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm going to come back within, if not tonight, sometime tomorrow and kind of roll through a little bit. And I got to get over there to Breslin, man. I got to go check out Breslin and kind of go look around and take some pictures a little bit, go back to my childhood.
Yeah, you need to take the official tours, what you need. Go through and see the Berkowitz Center in a way that you have not done. You've been there for games, but obviously you haven't seen all the displays and the kind of stuff that will take you back to your childhood. Okay.
Looking forward to it. I need to bring you along with me for the ride, Jack. Maybe I can come and pick you up and we can go take a spin over through there together and you can kind of be the tour guide, if you will.
Yeah. Now, they have a life-size wax Tom Izzo. But if you talk to him and he doesn't respond, don't think that he's being arrogant, okay?
Okay.
He's wax.
I promise
There's nothing he can do.
Okay, I'm not used to Tom Izzo keeping his mouth closed, especially watching him on TV doing so much coaching. So
that's right.
I'll definitely keep that in mind that it is just a wax.
All right. Sounds good. My best to your dad. We'll see you soon.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Jack. Thanks, Alex.
We're going to stay right here, Alex. We're not going to go to break yet. I do want to let you know that a little bit later in the show, coming in here in about 15 minutes, Karen Sadler, mother of All-America punter and icon Michael Sadler, is going to be here in studio, sitting in the same chair that her son sat in when he did lots of shows here, especially the Spartan Beat, working with Mike Griffith, and he was, of course, on The Drive with Jack. And he's going to be sitting here. She's going to be sitting here at about 4:45, and then Amp Campbell is going to join us at 5:05, and Chase Michelson. And we're going to tell you about a very special event. Alex, I don't even know if you know this yet, but we are returning to remote broadcasts 6 weeks from today. Will be our first one. We will be out at Peanut Barrel.
There we go.
One of my favorite places on Grand River, and just had lunch with Joe and Jennifer Bell out there, the owners, and Karen Sadler, and Darian Harris is part of this whole gig. So looking forward to that on the 23rd of September. We'll tell you more in just a few minutes. All right. Want to welcome in inspirational guy, one of my favorite Lansing athletes. And whenever I look at Justin Kane, I feel embarrassed because he's got these guns, right? And I see these pictures, and I just don't want my wife to see them because then she's going to say, you fat putz. But Justin, in terms of Special Olympics, now in that chair yesterday, Justin, we had Taylor Manson from East Lansing, who was an Olympic medal winner in Tokyo.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the mixed 4x4 relay. And she had her medal here, and I'll show you the pictures. I actually had one. Nobody could believe it. They asked where I stole it. But I said, no, it's from Taylor. She took it back with her. But how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Jack.
You look great.
Thank you. I'm a spry 38-year-old that's, trying to live a young person's dream.
Yeah.
And I'm getting there slowly but surely. Very slowly.
Tell me about your workouts.
Okay.
To look the way you do, you don't just roll out of bed and pose.
No, actually, so right now is my off season because I did miss the I went to trials. I missed it. Unfortunately, about a couple of weeks later, I did my final competition and nearly broke the U.S. record.
Yeah.
Just when I was a toe over the line, but it's all right.
You're talking about long jump.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it was pretty exciting, but yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of discipline to be able to compete, like I said, in a young person sport, especially as a business owner and a father and everything. So, how
many hours a day do you train?
So with everything that goes on in my life, I really don't have a ton of time. So I need to be very focused when I do train. And so I may only train for an hour a day, but when
it is focused. I know the kind of intensity.
Yeah, it's an intense workout. And it's it's not like the gym rats that are at the gym and they do a rep and then they talk for 15 minutes. It's very bam, 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 bam. Very, very little rest. But that's what I got to do to try to keep up with what I'm doing.
Hey, Alex, you're in pretty good shape. Do you do planks?
Yeah, here and there. Yeah.
Okay. So we had Justin on Press Pass, right? We get this bright idea. He's, closing in on record performances and things in Paralympics. So we decided we're going to conduct the entire interview with him while he's in the plank position, right? And he's going to be doing push-ups. He's going to be doing all this workouts while he is being interviewed. And, of course, the camera shows these three fat media guys over there asking this guy, who's fully engaged. But the competitions and the progress you have shown, do you have another level to kick it to now that you have some coaching?
Right. Yeah. So basically from 2015 until trials this year, I've mostly been training on my own, and I have had some support, but it's been very shoddy, right? And a lot of watching YouTube and trying to figure it out. At trials, I actually met a woman who is a coach for one of the top Paralympic athletes in the United States. And she offered to start working with me because she was so impressed that I've basically been able to get to where I've gotten without any formal coaching, really. So she started working with me, and she worked with me. Now, she is in L.A., so we haven't actually been working in person. It's been all emails and text messages and whatnot. But in just that short bit of time from trials till my final competition, I was able to improve enough to the point where I actually jumped 5.25 meters, which is 17 feet 4 inches, which would have shattered the U.S. record, except I was a toe over the line.
You and Kevin Durant, your toes are too big.
I know. So, but that was very exciting because that was actually the first time I've ever even gone over 5 meters.
Well, I wasn't even positive that was your best event, is it?
So when I started, I didn't know what my best event was, and for a while, I actually really focused on throwing.
Yeah.
I was a shot putter, I was a discus thrower, and I actually owned the U.S. records in both, which led me to think that was my sport. But turns out Eastern European guys who are 6'4", 280 pounds, going against a guy like me who's 5'8", or as my wife says, 5'8", and 150 pounds.
Right.
I didn't have what I needed to get to that elite level. So I never got into, I was bounced around about 20th at my best.
All right. What was your best shot put?
I threw 11.37 meters.
Okay. Which is
39. Which is about 38 feet.
38 feet.
Close to feet.
So
30 feet,
I'm wondering, because I know in high school, if you weighed 150 pounds, you would go nowhere near the shot put.
Right.
Right. How many 150 pounders in the state of Michigan can put the shot 38 feet?
I don't know, but I would assume not
but you
many.
can count them on one hand.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
So
the other thing about this, and Alex, I don't know how many times you've had a chance to talk with Justin, but our listeners are probably hearing him talk about this and saying, wait a minute, this is Paralympics. What is his disability, or why would he be in the Paralympics? And that's not immediately obvious. You want to give us the quick story about you and the brain surgery?
Yeah, well, I'll try to make it quick. So, in first day of 4th grade, I was on the way to school, and I bent down to tie my shoe, and I had a massive brain hemorrhage that was caused by a brain tumor, cancerous brain tumor that had been growing in my cerebellum since I was born, and no one knew about it until that day. It nearly killed me, and it left me after the surgery. I was basically a vegetable. I had to relearn how to walk, talk, swallow. My eyes were crossed. You know, I have a wide array of disabilities. Many of them are very minor, but I have a very large array of disabilities, and so when I got into the Paralympic sport, I was in the cerebral palsy or traumatic brain injury category. They tested me. They have actual doctors that test you and everything, and I was classified as a 36, which is actually not the top, not the least disabled. The least disabled is a 38. It's actually 2 steps down. Okay. So that's my category. It's not a very large category throughout the world.
When people see you or have a chance to meet you for the first time, do any of them assume, well, maybe it's an autism thing? If they don't know what it is, they certainly don't understand because they don't know. Maybe see a scar,
right,
in your skull,
or if they don't see the scar, they might assume I'm drunk. Which has happened many times. In fact, my wife, when she first met me, thought I was drunk, and I was stone sober. So, it's one of those things, and it was frustrating when I was younger, but as time has gone on, it's become an educational thing to educate people on the differences that I have as a person with a disability, and hopefully that opens their eyes to other people with disabilities and their abilities.
When are you competing again?
So I'm in my off season. So I am taking a break and eating food and enjoying life. But I'm continuing to work out and train, and I'll be getting back pretty seriously probably in about October. Get back at it, try to get in tip-top shape, and my first competition is Super Bowl Sunday.
All right.
In Wisconsin, and my goal will be to break the U.S. record at that competition.
A U.S. record in long jump.
Yep, the U.S. record in long jump for my disability, which is right now it's 5.13 meters.
Okay,
so,
I've got an idea for you with your coach.
Okay.
Okay, out in California, a way to get more immediate feedback and let the coach know exactly what you're doing. There's this company I know. I highly recommend. It's called Good Fruit Video.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And can you work
Heard
out
of
some
them.
yeah, you've heard of them, yeah. That's actually Justin's business. But can you work out a deal where you have some kind of a video feedback?
Like a streaming service?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I bet I could probably do that.
Okay. When he breaks the world record, I want to take credit for this. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for coming in.
Hey, thanks, Jack.
Appreciate
thanks for
it.
having me.
Yep.
Yeah.
You look great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next time,
great.
cut your toenail. Maybe you won't fault on that.
I know.
jump.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. We will be right back, and we have in the house Karen Sadler. We're going to be joined by Joe Bell from Peanut Barrel, talking about a big event coming up on September 23rd, benefiting the Sadler Foundation. We'll be right back.
At Culver's, we cook our butter burgers pretty much the same as you would at home, only our 3-cut blend of fresh beef will do. Then you'll need to master our signature press and sear technique. You may want to practice a few thousand times. Add real Wisconsin cheese, top with a lightly buttered toasted bun, and serve yourself with a big warm smile.
Better yet, come to Culver's and leave the whole cook-to-order butter burger thing to us. Welcome to Delicious.
Did you know you don't need any experience to apply at Dean Transportation? Because Dean provides free CDL training for their new bus drivers, and they will pay to train. Dean Transportation is hiring caring and dependable people as school bus drivers in Lansing and surrounding areas. Train for a rewarding career and safely transport children to and from school with Dean. Positions are currently available for the right candidates. Excellent driving history is required. You will earn $15.20 to $16.20 per hour, depending on location. Dean also offers their drivers a competitive benefits package, including health insurance, 401k, and paid time off, plus flexible scheduling and advancement opportunities with their growing company. Dean Transportation will train you to be a professional school bus driver for your community. Apply today. For more information and to apply, visit deantransportation.com/jobs. That's DEAN, transportation.com/jobs. Dean Transportation is an equal opportunity employer.
Welcome to Be the Referee with MHSAA Assistant Director Brent Rice.
After an uproar about officiating in a recent pro football game, an online article appeared with the headline, "Why in the world would anyone want to be a referee?" It's a good question. While everyone in the game, players, coaches, and officials, strive for perfection, only the officials are ultimately expected to reach that standard, and that's simply not fair. So why would anyone want to be a referee? Every referee will give you 3 little words: I love it. They love it because they know how important it is, no matter the level of play. And they want to be right all the time. And most of the time they are. And like a lot of other things in sports, the friendships and relationships built, the memories, they can't be beat. So we'll all encourage people to join us as referees, and for those of you who can't or won't, to stay in your lane when at the game.
Thanks, Brent. You can be a referee. Go online now to register at MHSAA.com. Be the Referee is a production of the MHSAA Network.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graphobocamus.
Matt, you got some new product, including electric vehicles.
Yeah, we got a lot of new product coming, Jack. On the Chevy side, we've got the 2022 Bolt EV and all-new Bolt EUV, which is just redesigned from the ground up. We're really excited about that. That's going to be hitting a lot any day now. Next door at Nissan, we've got the all-new redesigned Pathfinder from the ground up. I got to sit in it recently, drop dead gorgeous. And then we have the 2022 Frontier as well, which is completely redesigned. So fantastic product coming. We're really excited.
Stop by and see Matt and company here at Graf Avocamus. They're making friends.
This is Dr. John Wyckoff. Are you sick and tired of being tired and sick? Maybe you need to take the right supplements. Save 20% on all of our quality supplements during the Summer Supplement Extravaganza sale. Save on all of our supplements to help improve energy, reduce brain fog, improve sleep, normalize GI functions, and stabilize mood. Save 20% on all of our great supplements both in the East Lansing office or online at wycoffwellness.com. Improve your health and get on the path to wellness today with Wyckoff Wellness.
Jack Ebling here with Forest Acres course manager Brian Harris. Brian, it's just about time for some new product. You've got them all here at Acres and terrific club fitting.
Yeah, we've got some of the best club fitting in the state of Michigan. We utilize the TrackMan technology with all the major brands. So if you're looking for clubs for yourself or that special person in your life, then we're the place to go.
Lots of different manufacturers.
Lots of different ones from all the major brands, Titleist, Callaway, Ping, and more. So please come see us for your club fitting today.
Stop out at Forest Acres. Take care of your golf game.
Why is Culver's such a treat for so many families? Here's a hint. This treat is thick and creamy, and everyone can get it any way they like. Our fresh, frozen custard. We craft it in small batches throughout the day to make our guests stay. Shakes, cones, sundaes, concrete mixers, flavor of the day, oh, and the toppings.
Who says you can't please everyone? There's more than one way to dessert at Culver's. Welcome to Delicious.
I'm Tony Cuthbert with your Spotlight Sports Update. The Tigers won their second straight game against the Orioles with a 5-2 victory last night in Baltimore. Miguel Cabrera got Detroit on the board when he hit his 499th career home run in the fifth inning. Matt Manning gets the nod for the Tigers against Orioles lefty John Means in this afternoon's series finale. Tigers outfielders Akil Baddoo and Derek Hill are out of the lineup for the next few games. The pair collided with each other during Detroit's game in Baltimore on Tuesday. Baddoo has been placed on the 7-day concussion list and Hill is on the 10-day injured list. The Tigers recalled infielders Renato Nunez and Zach Short from AAA Toledo to fill the roster spots. And the Lions held a walkthrough yesterday as training camp continues in Allen Park. Tight end TJ Hawkinson and defensive end Deshaun Hand both left practice earlier this week with minor injuries. The Lions will take on the Buffalo Bills tomorrow at Ford Field.
You're listening to The Drive with Jack Ebling.
You want to win, don't you?
Well, I think I'd really rather try to beat him honestly.
SpotlightMediaStudios.com.
Welcome back. It is The Drive with Jack, the Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Alex Heward. Alex, I got to show you this really cool new bracelet I got today. I've been wearing this Booyah bracelet, my son's company, but now I have a matching green and white bracelet. It said, the prize is in the journey. Sadler 3. And that was tied directly to the son of our next guest, Karen Sadler, joining us from Grand Rapids. Hi, Karen. How are you?
Good, Jack. How are you?
Good. Great to have you with us. Always great to have you in town. And I saw you today up on Grand River. I was going to ask, because you've been here a lot, do you have a favorite place to grab a burger or a beverage in town?
Oh, I have a few, for sure.
Yeah.
Peanut Barrel's always been a favorite. Crunchies has been a favorite.
Yeah.
All the places that Mike liked to go.
Yeah.
I now like to go to.
I'm glad that you mentioned Peanut Barrel because Mike had a favorite table there.
He did.
And we want to welcome in owner, I guess say co-owner, or Jennifer is going to be mad at me, but co-owner of the Peanut Barrel, and that is Joe Bell. We saw Joe for lunch today. Hi, Joe. How you doing?
Hey, Jack. Hey, Karen. How are you two doing?
We're doing fine. Yeah. And actually, the idea, we had talked about some other kinds of things, and you said, I want to do something to benefit the Sadler Foundation. You want to talk about the idea we have and what's going to happen on September 23rd?
Well, on the 23rd, we are going to be inviting you and your group and Karen and her group into the Peanut Barrel, specifically from 4 to 6, but sales that day, 50% of all our sales that day are going to be donated to the Sadler Foundation. So it's going to kind of be a bit of an event, I think.
Yeah. I thought what I would do, Joe, these thoughts always come to me after I've left someplace, but I was thinking that after the radio show is over at 6, I would stick around and give away some copies of The Perfect 10 with a trivia contest. And
excellent idea.
Yeah,
Excellent idea.
Yeah, from people who remember those teams and especially that game and everything that is in The Perfect 10. Thought we would have a little fun with that. So that's
that
something
would be fun.
we can look forward to as well. And who knows, gives me a chance to have another Schroomberger. Yeah, and I'll be more than happy to autograph some copies. And if you would like to get some for Christmas gifts or for your favorite Wolverine, and you'd like to drive them absolutely crazy, there are very few things that work better than a copy of The Perfect 10. Karen, the idea that Joe came up with, and Darian Harris is going to be very much involved in this. I talked with Darian earlier today. Can you tell us a little bit about the Sadler Foundation and all the great things it's doing?
Yeah, sure. We're just so thrilled, first of all, Joe, that you came up with this, and then Jack and Darian jumped in, because we are doing a lot of work out in the field right now, and we need to fund that. And so things like this really, really do make a difference to us, particularly with our Game Changers program. We're going out into K-12 with what's called Game Changers, Building Legacies. And what we do is we have high school students mentor younger students in grades 2, 4, 6, and 8 and teach them how to build their legacies starting now. You know, usually people think that a legacy is something that only exists when somebody dies, but that's not the case at all. You know, Jack, if I said to Alex, what do you think of Jack? Whatever he said, that would encompass your legacy. You have a legacy today. And we want kids to understand that. We want kids to understand that every decision they make, every act they make, every word they speak is forming their legacy. It's creating their legacies. So we go in and we help them to learn to be mindful about all of those decisions so that as they build their legacy day by day, they're doing it the right way. We use Mike as a model because, you know, his legacy is strong now.
Right.
Because he chose to make good decisions along the way.
Right.
And so using that model, we try to teach younger kids the value of making good decisions every day.
And you're getting them at a formative age, grades 2, 4, 6, and 8. And that's long before they can sample Hey Diddle Diddle Sadler Up the Middle, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So, Joe, take me back and our listeners to what gave you the idea for this and why it was important for the Peanut Barrel to be involved.
There's a mutual friend of ours that came into the Peanut Barrel with Karen one afternoon, and he said, Joe, this is Karen. I says, well, I've seen Karen before. I don't know if we've ever been formally introduced, but I'm so glad to meet you. And of course I was and am. He said, you should get something together with her and work with the foundation. And I said, well, I think that's a great idea. The more we learned about the foundation and the work they're doing, the more we decided that it was the right thing for us to get involved in. And that's kind of how that came about. I'm not going to use Wayne's name.
Hey, Joe, I heard a rumor, and, dispel this if you like, but I am sitting here right now having a beverage out of Mike Sadler 3 Hey Diddle Diddle glass that I was given today. And there might be some sort of a commemorative glass for some people who come to our remote 6 weeks from today.
We are working on a combination Mike Sadler peanut barrel pint glass. That all got started today at Karen's suggestion, and we thought that was a great idea, and we're trying to figure out just exactly how to promote that day, but something tells me we'll come up with something that works.
Karen, I'm thinking that people who take home one of these glasses after being there for the radio show and to celebrate Mike's legacy might also be able to take back a growler of the famous peanut barrel Long Island iced tea, and you can get a few glasses of that, right?
Well, I'm going to leave that up to Joe. But they do make the greatest Long Island iced teas for sure at the Peanut Barrel.
Thank you, Karen. We do our best.
Sounds like a voice of experience there, but
I've heard. And I would be remiss if I didn't go back and give Wayne the credit for this introduction, because Joe, I'm going to hear about it if I don't. So thank you, Wayne Dykston, for introducing me to Joe Bell. Wayne is on our board as a director, and he's been instrumental in the College of Engineering moving Mike's legacy forward and keeping it meaningful and relevant to today's students. So thank you, Wayne.
You know what I'm thinking, Joe? At some point when we're over there on the 23rd, I want to identify for everyone over there the table where Mike sat, the table where some other Michigan State athletes, Scott Skiles for one, sat to drink his milk, right? Milk.
That's correct.
Want to make very sure people understand
Yep.
that. People in the East Lansing Police Force understand that. And so that another time when I'm doing a trivia contest for a big prize, I'm going to ask somebody if they can identify where those tables are at Peanut Barrel, and we'll see if they're paying close attention.
Oh, that'd be great, Jack. We'd like that.
Yeah. But we're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to have tons of guests over there. It's 2 nights, two afternoons, I should say, before the Nebraska game. And Karen, Mike and Nebraska have a special relationship as well. From, you think about the Trick Plays and Bo Pelini and Sam, and it's the schools are in some ways linked, and there has been talk of a special trophy in that series named after the 2 kickers. So it's probably an appropriate time.
Yeah, I think so, Jack. We're joined at the hips for a number of different reasons. The Trick Plays, for sure, that was Charlie Brown out there. Mike got the first down, and I think that's where he banged up his knee, too. But, we'll forever be joined at the hip as schools because of the loss that we suffered together.
Right.
And it's my understanding that the Fultz family will be coming out for that game.
Great.
And that the Big Ten coin that was commissioned will be the coin toss at the beginning of the game. And there'll be some other tributes throughout the day. But, yeah, it'll be a special game for sure.
We'd be honored if the Fultz family would join us at the Peanut Barrel if they are here in time to do that.
Yeah, they're a great family.
Karen, thanks so much for stopping in. Always
Thank
great
you,
to
Jack.
see you.
Good to see you. And Joe, we appreciate everything you're doing. Thank you.
Joe, I'll be in
Thanks,
touch.
Karen.
And we'll have some more meetings and some more planning. We'll be right back on The Drive with Jack.
Hello, this is Mary Stucco with Education Unfiltered. Education is so important, and it doesn't mean you have to have a bachelor's degree or a master's degree or a PhD. It's really about what is best for you and what you need to take, whether it's a certificate or studying something in the trades or you need an associate's degree to further develop yourself. There's a great opening for people at all ages and at all stages of life who are looking to go back into education and redevelop themselves. Check Check out my latest podcast with Davenport University and Lansing Community College as they join forces to host an online event to start or finish your degree. Like and subscribe to Spotlight Podcast on our YouTube and Facebook pages and watch all my episodes, or you can listen in on your favorite podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Play by simply searching Education Unfiltered. This is Mary Stucco. See you soon with more conversation on Education Unfiltered.
When it's your moment, that once-in-a-lifetime moment, you don't just want jewelry. You can get that anywhere. You want a memory that will go down in history, your moment. We're metalware, crafted with exquisite style, quality, and love, so your present will be stunning every time you look at it, every time someone notices it, and they will notice. We've devoted our lives to this art, and we're proud to share it with you. The gift you want to give is here.
Metalware Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, Portage, and Brighton.
Live across the Great Lakes State, you're connected to Michigan's most engaging and influential radio and television program, Michigan's Big Show, starring Michael Patrick Shields.
Great to be with you, Michael Patrick. You're the show I would want to be on. Forget those other ones.
Michael Patrick, it's always a pleasure to be on the air with the king of the airwaves. Thanks for having me on again.
That's a very good question.
Those are all great questions. Good morning.
Thank you. Michigan's Michael Patrick Shields.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Taylor. Additional U.S. forces are being moved to Afghanistan to assist with evacuation efforts and airport security in Kabul. Pentagon spokesman John Kirby told a briefing that the troops are coming from nearby regions.
The Secretary of Defense has directed the department to position temporary enabling capabilities to ensure the safety and security of U.S. and partner civilian personnel.
The move involves about 3,000 troops. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is blaming the Trump administration for a surge of migrants at the Texas-Mexico border. Mayorkas said the previous administration slashed aid resources to other countries so they could address problems in their countries. The DHS head says more migrants are going to the U.S. because asylum laws have changed since President Joe Biden came into office. Former FDA Commissioner Dr. Scott Gottlieb says offices that require employees to be vaccinated do not need to take additional safety measures. Gottlieb said evidence from Israel shows vaccinated people who are infected spread the disease within their household, not outside of it. Lisa Taylor, NBC News Radio.
Michael Patrick, welcome to Dusty's. Did you walk up today?
I sure did. I walked up here to the patio at the tap room, having a glass of wine, and then I'm going next door, Matt Rhodes, to your Dusty Cellar to get my 6 for $60, and I'm going to carry them all the way home with me because I'm counting my calories and counting my steps these days.
Yeah, the 6 for $60 is going great for the summer, and we have a whole new category of wines called Better For You wines, which have 0 sugar and less calories.
No kidding. So for a glass of that, how many calories?
85 calories or less.
That's all. That's fantastic. All right. I feel good about that. I'm going to try those, and I'm looking forward to that. And we are here at Dusty's Cellar and the tap room. And by the way, it's not only the wine that walks out of here. You're doing a fairly brisk business in the catering, I hear.
That's right. Catering's picking up as fall comes, and tailgate season is almost here.
Isn't that great? People are having parties again. They're getting together again. And what better way to have a party than not have to worry about the stress of cooking? Have you do it.
Come see us on Grand River and Okemos or online at dustycellar.com.
Cheers.
Cheers, Michael Patrick.
I'm Tony Cuthbert with your Spotlight Sports Update. The Tigers won their second straight game against the Orioles with a 5-2 victory last night in Baltimore. Miguel Cabrera got Detroit on the board when he hit his 499th career home run in the 5th inning. Matt Manning gets the nod for the Tigers against Orioles lefty John Means in this afternoon's series finale. Tigers outfielders Akil Baddoo and Derek Hill are out of the lineup for the next few games. The pair collided with each other during Detroit's game in Baltimore on Tuesday. Baddoo has been placed on the 7-day concussion list and Hill is on the 10-day injured list. The Tigers recalled infielders Renato Nunez and Zach Short from AAA Toledo to fill the roster spots. And the Lions held a walkthrough yesterday as training camp continues in Allen Park. Tight end TJ Hawkinson and defensive end Deshaun Hand both left practice earlier this week with minor injuries. The Lions will take on the Buffalo Bills tomorrow at Ford Field.
This is it right here.
Combining a team of reporters, columnists, and commentators.
Don't you ever talk about me!
Are you serious? Jack Ebling has brought thought-provoking discussion.
What are you doing? That's a damn coaching mistake.
Opinion.
The customer is the one who decides when the future gets here.
Oh, no! The ship is on fire!
You have to check the report.
Are you kidding me?
That game was fixed.
And overall infotainment.
I'll take Jim Harbaugh.
What has he done?
Crazy Cootie coming at you.
Quiet, please. In exactly 15 seconds, we'll be on the air.
Thanks, big fella.
Don't you ever come back here again.
No arguments. Those are called ass tuners.
So buckle up.
You talking to me?
It's time for The Drive with Jack Ebling.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Welcome back. It is The Drive with Jack, the Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Alex Heward, and I am back in studio. Sorry, Alex, that's 2 days in a row you have to put up with me here. I've been doing a lot of shows from my office at home in Okemos, but back-to-back in-person guest days. So I am here downtown today and want to go right out to our guest line and welcome in one of my favorite former Spartans, a guy I saw before he got to Michigan State. Actually, I was down in Florida. Went and visited Amp Campbell when George Perlis was so excited about landing him. Didn't know that he wasn't going to get to coach him, but he went on and did some great things for Nick Saban. How you doing, Amp?
I'm doing pretty good, and you?
I'm doing fine. We think about Amp Campbell, people are always going to remember one play, not that there weren't others, but when we talk about the great plays in Spartan Stadium history, there was a run, 88 yards, that beat Notre Dame and sparked a 35-0 win, first nationally televised game for Michigan State back in the early 50s. During a 28-game winning streak. That was really a game that put Michigan State on the football map. And then people remember an 88-yard run by Levi Jackson that beat number 1 Ohio State in 1974, the game when Woody Hayes wound up punching the commissioner. A lot of people don't know that story. But that was the game that nobody knew who won until 45 minutes after it ended. And then there was the smoker to T.J. Duckett pass, and Michigan fans still say that game lasted 60 minutes and 1 second. But that was enough to give Michigan State a win. And, Alex, one of my favorites was 2 years before that. Starting the 99 season, and you have to go back to September of 1998 in Eugene, Oregon. And Amp Campbell coming up late in the game, forcing on a tackle, ducked, and suffered a broken neck. And people said, well, you know, is he going to be okay? First of all, is he going to live? Second of all, is he going to walk? Third of all, is he going to be functional? Him playing football was the furthest thing from my mind at that point. And then you saw him with the halo kind of screwed into the cranium. I can't imagine how uncomfortable that must have been, Amp, for you to have that on. But then you got this idea that you were going to play football again. And you wouldn't take no for an answer. Finally, you got the medical approval to do so. You got yourself back in shape. You got Nick Saban realizing that he had to have you on the field. And so how does the 99 season open? Of course, it's against Oregon. It's against the team that you were injured against. And it's in the second half of this game, and Spartans are on the verge of losing the lead. Oregon is driving. Suddenly there's a fumble at the 15-yard line. Can you take it from there?
Yeah, I remember Julian Peterson ended up hitting the tailback, and great call by defensive coordinator at the time, Coach Bill Miller, ends up calling a man-to-man type defensive call, and I ended up going on the side where actually the back was getting ready to run the football to, and Julian gets in and knocks the ball out. I give a little move to the receiver to try to get there to make the tackle, and all of a sudden the ball comes out and lucky bounced right in my hand, and the rest was history. Just scoop and score. Had to put it in the end zone.
You're going down the middle of the field here, and this is not a 40-yard dash. You're talking about an 85-yard touchdown return in what turned out to be a 7-point Michigan State win over the Ducks. So did you think that, somebody's going to be catching me? You were going the opposite way. You were going toward the north end zone, so you didn't have the big video board there to watch it the way that Herb Haygood did 2 years later. And have you run much faster than you did with that ball in the open field?
As I'm running, I said to myself, I can't let anybody catch me because I know I would not hear the end of it if someone would have caught me and ran me down and I wouldn't have gotten the end zone. So it worked out perfect. Great call, great play. I was able to score, and obviously that helped us win that football game. So that's something that I would never forget, and it was a great feeling to be able to come back and play and score the winning touchdown to help your team win the game that the year before that you played in a game where you broke your neck and went out to Oregon, and they demolished us out there.
That's
but
right.
They come out there and get that win. That was huge.
When did you know that you were going to come back and you were going to be on that field and you wanted to be back to play Oregon?
I think it was after I think it was after the Indiana game when that following Sunday I went into Coach Saban's office and asked him if it's a possibility if I could come back. And I just remember him telling me that he would do everything that he can to help me get that year back. But, there's things that I would have to go through to get the medical clearance first, but also to get clearance from the NCAA to get that 6th year.
Right.
And right after that Illinois game in 98, I think with Randall and their team came in, and I can't remember how many overtimes that we went through.
Indiana game,
Yes, but I think we ended up winning it. If I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt, just watching us struggle that year and in 98, I think finishing up 6-6, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
Or and it was kind of a disappointing year. Oh. And I felt like, if I got an opportunity to come back, I would do everything that I could to help us prevail to be better than what we were in 98. And it was a blessing to come back and play with a bunch of guys that really cared not only for the program but for each other, and that stuck out the most to me.
I think that 98 season, Amp, was the most frustrating season I've ever seen for Michigan State football, not just your injury and the physical pounding that the team took at Oregon, but also some of the incredible losses, the block kick return for a touchdown at Purdue. You think about some of the great wins, led Notre Dame 42-3 at the half. Beat number 1 Ohio State on the road. So it's not a matter of not being able to do it. It's just a matter that it didn't happen for this team. And so the next year, there's a song, I don't know if you ever heard it, it's called Unbreakable. And the line that goes all the way through it is, it always starts with a spark. And the spark for that 99 season was you and that fumble recovery, because Michigan State's never had a year with 6 wins like the 6 that you had that year. Oregon, Notre Dame, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, and then in the bowl game, how appropriate was it for your final game at Michigan State that you go down to Florida and you're playing the Florida Gators and you beat them on a last chance field goal?
Oh, it was awesome. It was, honestly, it was a dream come true. And the reason why I say that is because coming out of high school, at first, I committed to the University of Florida. I, felt like I wanted to be a Gator.
Yeah.
Wanted to stay in the state of Florida. But in reality, I had my dad sitting there telling me, you need to get out of here. You need to get away. You're 2.5 hours away from home. If you go to Florida, you're going to have your friends coming up there. It can be a distraction. I want you to go somewhere where you can focus and get a degree and, play the game of football which you love. And I kind of felt that, and I also respect my parents, and I felt like, and he said, you have family in Michigan, and I just remember Coach Pete, coming down recruiting me. But going down, going to play the, and then, when I committed to Florida, then, I remember Coach Spurrier then was kind of, playing around a little bit. I don't know, if we can get you in, and I just remember saying, that's fine. I have hundreds of other schools I can go to, and so I ended up, committing to Michigan State, and it was kind of ironic that I got an opportunity to play the University of Florida my last game, which was awesome.
Yeah, it sure was. And to think that there you are back in Florida, and earlier that year, you can always say that you beat Tom Brady his senior year at Michigan. And we remember another guy who was outstanding in that game and in the bowl game. You talk about Plexico Burris and what he did, and then finally recovering that onside kick. And Tom Brady's final game against Michigan State is a 34-31 loss.
Yes, sir. It's kind of ironic. I remember my good buddy P. Diddy, I call him Plex. He came out. He was focused that whole week. He knew that going into that game, he was going to be targeted.
Yeah.
I felt like, during that week, he knew that he was going to have a big game, and he wanted them to have David Terrell come on defense and cover him. And he just talked about that the whole week, and he felt like if they put him out there, I'm going to expose him.
Yeah.
And he did. And he went out and exposed their whole secondary for 200, I think, 50-some yards.
Yeah, 255.
255. I know he had a big game, and we was pretty fired up about that game because I felt like, I think coming into that game, I think they was ranked number 3, I think, in the country.
That's right. They were 3, and Michigan State was 11.
And, at the time, it was – we wasn't really getting the respect that we felt like we should have been given.
Right.
And at the end of the day, we felt like we were a good football team. And obviously, defensively, we kind of didn't play as well as we should have and ended up giving up some plays. But Bill Burke, that offense, played a heck of a game. We ended up winning that football game. And that kind of really kind of set the tone. But also, too, it really kind of messed us up because we went down the following week to Purdue.
That's right.
and laid an egg, which we should have been. We should have beat Drew Brees and that team.
Yeah.
But we went out there and played down and ended up losing that football game. And then the following week, go down to Madison, Wisconsin, and gave Rondane 200 yards rushing and first back to run for over 100 yards against us. And after that, before that, though, we said that.
Gave him the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, gave him the Heisman Trophy, correct. We said, nobody be going out, hanging out, doing things the first 6 games. Nobody was in bars or doing anything. And, and after you said the first 6 games, and then after that, guys got kind of full of themselves. And And then we had to shut it down after that and say, man, we're going to focus on the rest of the season after we lost that second game to Wisconsin. And the rest is history. We won out.
Alex, how's this for a challenge for a defensive player? You play Tom Brady and Drew Brees back-to-back Saturdays, and then all you do is get the Heisman Trophy winner the game after that in Ron Dane. So that's back-to-back-to-back. And I can still remember in that Purdue game, Amp, I don't want to bring back bad memories that give you cold sweats here, but there was a guy named Chris Daniels. A lot of people didn't know who he was before the game, but they knew after because he caught 301 yards worth of passes.
Number 20.
Yes.
Remember that? It was yesterday. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Never forget it. Yeah. And I like I say, wish you can take that back, have that back, and redo it. But he really had a outstanding game against us. And you know, if somebody would have said that he was going to have over 300 yards or, you know, catch 20 balls, I would have been like, there's nowhere in the world against our defense.
Right. And, you know, you talk about Plex and the game he had against Michigan, and when he absolutely corkscrewed David Terrell into the turf on that one play, it's hysterical. If you go back and watch him blocking, you got this 6'6" specimen and the guy who really hasn't played much defense, but they put him out there because nobody else could cover Plex, and you know, he just kind of burrowed him into the ground. But Plex had to perform that game because of what had happened the year before. Do you remember the story about, well, you weren't playing because, of course, you were rehabbing, but what happened in the Michigan game the year before? We're getting ready for the game, and I want to say it was Tuesday of that week, and the game was in Ann Arbor.
Correct.
And a couple of us, after practice, got Plex aside, and I don't remember who asked the question, but it was, so what's it going to be like playing against the vaunted Wolverines secondary? And, you know, Plex never lacked for confidence. So he looks at us and he says, it'd be like taking candy from a baby.
Yeah.
Now, you can imagine what happened to that headline. And it was all over the Michigan locker room, and Saban read Plex the Riot Act. I don't think Plex and Nick get along to this day, but it wasn't because of that. But so during the game, Plex dropped, I think, 3 passes in that game in Ann Arbor.
Yep, sure
but
did.
The next year, he didn't drop anything but Wolverine defenders.
Yeah, that's correct. And I remember after that, how about, and then also, too, after the Michigan game in '99, he talks to the media, and he says some crazy things, and goes down to Purdue, and didn't play well.
Right.
So Coach Saban didn't let him talk to the media.
That's right.
After that,
he was on probation. That's right.
Yes. So they had their little words of war between them two. So he says some things sometimes that he wish he probably could take back, but that's who he is.
Yeah. Plex never forgave Nick Amp for leaving the team before the bowl game, and he went on to LSU, and I can still hear Plex, and I'd have to bleep out some of the words, but, you know, that guy and the things that he told us to come back and stay and finish what we started, and then, you know, he didn't finish the season, and Amp thought that was, at best, disingenuous. So I wanted to talk, Amp, about what happened a couple years later, and you were gone by this point, but Herb scores on a 68-yard pass to beat Notre Dame. And I've asked Herb about, you know, you, and because you were close and being from Sarasota and you're always kidding each other. You know, and he says, well, I'm number 2, you know, and he wore number 3, so 2 is better than 3. You know, and he always used to say he was faster and he was the fastest player ever from Sarasota and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So you know, I think it's funny, but he loves you. And a conversation came up the other day about him now taking over as the head coach at Madonna University in Livonia and getting ready to play their first game. I mean, the first game, none of these helmets have ever been worn in the game, you know. So this is as new as it gets. And I don't know when the last time was that you talked to him, but what would you tell him about taking over a team and getting him ready to play against a very good Lawrence Tech team?
I think the one of the things that I would honestly say to him is, you know, we talk all the time, you know, and I think, you know, from what we went through from his time when he first got to Michigan State in 1997 until the time he left. So he's seen the regime that we came up under, and Coach Saban and his coaching staff and Coach Manning and his weightlifting program and fourth quarter program. Still to this day, that is still the core of Alabama football, Georgia football, Louisiana Tech football, Oregon Ducks football. I can go down to LSU. I can go down the line, you know, across the country, how many people are using this fourth quarter program to be successful, to win games in the college football area. And I think if he follows the playbook in that fourth quarter program and have a good coaching staff, and those kids play for one another and believe in the fourth quarter program, he's going to be successful.
Yeah, it'll happen for him. He went down to Florida and got 4 players, went back home, but he's got 135 players. I said, Amp, you know, you can't remember 135 names. That's impossible. But
that's a lot of people.
That's a lot. It's a lot of towels, I'll tell you, at the end of practice. But he's determined that he's going to make this work. He just doesn't have many players quite as good as you.
I think he will. You know, I know Herb. He's a hard worker. He's dedicated. He wants to be successful, but also too, he's going to care about those kids, and he cares about the program. And especially starting it off, you know, you want to do well. You're going to take your bumps and bruises because those kids haven't played a game, and those other teams have been around one another, practicing and doing things and playing games with one another. So he's going to take his bruises, but I guarantee you, I think at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, he's going to leave his name on that program because I know what type of guy he is and how hard he's going to work to make Madonna be a successful football program.
I promised him that I would go see one of his games, and I might go see the opener if he promises me that he'll score a point. And they're going to be one of the bigger underdogs anywhere all year as a first game for a program against a national power at that level, NAIA. So I want you to take me through your coaching path and all the things that happened at Alabama State. Can you do that?
Yeah, you know, I've been this is going into my 6th year here at Alabama State. I've been the corners coach, passing game coordinator here at Alabama State, and like I said, for the past 6 years, it's been a blessing to be here in Montgomery, Alabama, coaching here. I feel like, you know, this is a great HBCU. We had the opportunity to play some great teams in the spring. Had the opportunity to play Jackson State, where Dion and his crew had brought a lot of exposure to the HBCUs at Jackson State. So we had the opportunity to play those guys this spring, beating them 35-28. So that was a great experience for us playing on ESPN. I think ESPN2, if I'm not mistaken. Before that, I was at Kent State for 2 years, and before that, 3 years at Western Michigan. So, I can go on and on, So I've been around a little bit, but this is the longest place I've been in my coaching career since I've been coaching. And, it's great to be here in the state of Alabama. I get an opportunity every summer to go down there and spend some time in Tuscaloosa and with Coach Saban and his staff. So, to continue to learn and sharpen my tools in my tool belt, and just continue to grow in this profession.
We know that Nick Saban was defensive back and loved the secondary, and the whole time that he was a head coach, he was also the secondary coach, and Mark D'Antonio was there too, but Saban never let the DBs get too far out of his eyesight. What's the biggest thing you learned about football and secondary play from having played for Saban?
Technician. To me, it's all about your fundamentals and being technically sound. I think if, one of the big things that I'm huge on, which I felt like it helped me, and also as a coach, it helps my players. A good football player, if you're an average football player, you play with good technique and good fundamentals, you can be a good football player. If you're a good football player and you play with great technique, great fundamentals, you can be a great football player. So those are the things that I work on with my guys, is playing with great technique, great fundamentals, because you might not be the biggest, the fastest, the strongest, the strongest, but if you continue to work, continue to prove in those areas, but then you get out there on that field and play with great technique and great fundamentals, and you spend time in the film room watching your opponent and knowing what they're going to do, it helps you when you get out there on the field. When you see a formation, now I can go out there and play the game at a high level, and I know what's going to happen, and it puts you in position to be successful. So it's just like going in, and if you get to go take a math test in college, if you study, you put time into it, you can be successful. So what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. And, like I said, I'm a big believer in that area.
We're talking with Amp Campbell, one of the most heralded high school players of his era, 6-year defensive back at Michigan State, including an incredible heroic return in 1999, now in year 6 at Alabama State. When is your season opener, Amp?
So we open up on September 4th, my birthday, against Miles College, which is a D2 school here in Alabama.
Okay.
So we open up with those guys, and then the following week we will go down to Auburn, Alabama, and go play the University of Auburn.
Ooh.
Auburn University.
Okay. All right. That's a stepping up from Miles College to Auburn.
Oh yeah. So it's gonna be a big challenge.
Yeah. Someone said, "What's the key to beating Auburn?" And that's the case. I would say first thing is you better be sure you beat Miles College.
Tell me about it. That's the first thing. You can't put the buggy in front of the horse and overlook Miles and think you start practicing for Auburn before you play Miles. So that would be a huge letdown. But we have to do a great job against Miles first, and then pray that we just come out healthy that following week.
So what is the key? Last question for you. What is the key to getting a team ready to play after they just stopped playing? I mean, you guys were playing the spring season. When was your last game in the spring?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was sometime in April. I think the beginning or middle of April, if I'm not mistaken. The middle of April, if I'm not mistaken. The kids, got done playing. got done with school, was turned right back around. They had a week off. And it's summer conditioning, summer conditioning, weight room, all that stuff just continue to go. Now we have some guys that had some injuries and got healed up, and now they're back rocking and rolling. And in a couple of weeks, this thing going to kick off, and we're going to be going again.
Well, the good news, Amp, is that they weren't going to get out of shape in the off season.
That's correct. That's correct.
Great to talk to you again. I hope that we get a chance to see you. Maybe if there's a bye week or something for you, or something happens that you can ever get back up here. Mel Tucker now and Darian Harris and company, they've got this deal they started this year called Spartan Dog Con. And they're bringing back all the former players, and they meet with the current players and a bunch of recruits. But this was an unbelievable first year for that, and people now are starting to circle dates on the calendar for next year. And if there's a way for you to get up for that in late July, I'm sure a lot of people would love to see you.
Yes, sir. It'd be kind of awesome to get a chance to see all the guys again. I was up there in June for a second, but it'd be awesome to get back and see former teammates and meet guys on the current staff.
Good luck to Alabama State.
Thank you very much, Jack. Greatly appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
Amp Campbell, number 3. We'll be back in just a minute. We're going to go out to Vegas and talk with Chase Michelson on The Drive with Jack.
At Culver's, we cook our butter burgers pretty much the same as you would at home. Only our 3-cut blend of fresh beef will do. Then you'll need to master our signature press and sear technique. You may want to practice a few thousand times. Add real Wisconsin cheese, top with a lightly buttered toasted bun, and serve yourself with a big warm smile.
Better yet, come to Culver's and leave the whole cook-to-order butter burger thing to us. Welcome to Delicious.
Call it a sense of purpose, a higher calling, essential to our children's future. We call it our passion at Dean Transportation. We are a family, hardworking folks who for more than 60 years have connected children to learning, schools to our communities, and you to a better career, pioneering the best in health and safety standards because it's simply what we do, because safe student transportation has always been essential. Dean is now hiring community-focused individuals for immediate school bus driver, attendant, and mechanic positions for local schools throughout mid-Michigan. To learn more, visit jobs@dean.com/Lansing. Experienced applicants will receive up to a $750 sign-on bonus. For individuals with no prior experience, Dean will pay you to train. Positions may also allow you to start and stop work from local parking locations or your home throughout mid-Michigan. If you're looking to make the community a better place, we'll put you in the driver's seat. Join the Dean Transportation family today at jobs@dean.com/Lansing.
Welcome to Be the Referee with veteran MHSAA official Sam Davis.
One of the long-term strategies in the game of football is deception. It has a lot of other names and most often goes these days by the name of trickery. Catching an opponent off guard can break a game wide open, but catching the officiating crew off guard is something you don't want to have happen, or else your big play may be blown dead inadvertently. That's why during the pregame meeting the officiating crew has with each head coach, one of the questions that will be asked is, Coach, do you have any trick plays that we should be watching for? And coaches, who are usually tight-lipped about a lot of their strategies, will be very open and describe in detail anything fancy that's in the playbook for that game. This type of communication gets coaches and officials on the same page and ensures that when trickery comes visiting, only the opponents are surprised.
Thanks, Sam. You can be a referee. Go online now to MHSAA.com to register. Be the Referee is a production of the MHSAA Network.
Thinking of a new air conditioning unit for your home? Hi, Peggy Doty with Doty Mechanical. A new Carrier high-efficiency AC unit will lower your energy usage and increase your home comfort. Current Carrier Cool Cash offers and available utility rebates mean your savings have never been better.
Call Doty Mechanical today at 327-7777 or visit us at dotymechanical.com for your free estimate. For heating and cooling, the names to know, Doty Mechanical and Carrier. Turn to the experts.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graphovocamus. Matt, you got some new product, including electric vehicles.
Yeah, we got a lot of new product coming, Jack. On the Chevy side, we've got the 2022 Bolt EV and all-new Bolt EUV, which is just redesigned from the ground up. We're really excited about that. That's going to be hitting a lot any day now. Next door at Nissan, we've got the all-new redesigned Pathfinder from the ground up. I got to sit in it recently. Drop dead gorgeous. And then we have the 2022 Frontier as well, which is completely redesigned. So fantastic product coming. We're really excited.
Stop by and see Matt and company here at Graphovocamus. They're making friends.
This is Dr. John Wyckoff. Are you sick and tired of being tired and sick? Maybe an intravenous infusion would improve your energy or treat your underlying health issue. Find unique infusions at our East Lansing office, including IV vitamin C, ozone, ultraviolet blood irradiation, chelation, and IV nutrient infusions. Treatments to improve your stamina and treat most chronic health issues. Save 20% on all of our infusion packages during our summer IV infusion sale on now. Find out more at wycoffwellness.com.
Jack Ebling here with Forest Acres course manager Brian Harris. Brian, it's just about time for some new product. You've got them all here at Acres and terrific club fitting.
Yeah, we've got some of the best club fitting in the state of Michigan. We utilize the TrackMan technology with all the major brands. So if you're looking for clubs for yourself or that special person in your life, then we're the place to go.
Lots of different manufacturers.
Lots of different ones from all the major brands, Titleist, Callaway, Ping, and more. So please come see us for your club fitting today.
Stop out at Forest Acres. Take care of your golf game.
Why is Culver's such a treat for so many families? Here's a hint. This treat is thick and creamy, and everyone can get it any way they like. Our fresh, frozen custard. We craft it in small batches throughout the day to make our guests stay. Shakes, cones, sundaes, concrete mixers, flavor of the day, oh, and the toppings.
Who says you can't please everyone? There's more than one way to dessert at Culver's. Welcome to Delicious.
For the second time this season, the Major League record for consecutive strikeouts in a game by a pitcher was tied. The Brewers' Corbin Burns did it by fanning 10 straight Cubs in Milwaukee's 10-0 win, and he didn't even realize what he had accomplished.
Schauger said something. I was like, what did I do? Like, I don't know. And I was like, why did it take forever? Why are we throwing the ball out of the game? Like, what's going on? So no, I had no clue.
Burns ties the mark held by the Phillies' Aaron Nola, who did it in June, and Tom Seaver of the Mets, who did it in 1970. Career homer .499 for Miguel Cabrera as the Tigers top the Orioles 5-2. Ozzie Albies with a walk-off 3-run homer in the 11th to lift the Braves over the Reds 8-6. And with the Dodgers beating the Phillies 8-2, Atlanta and Philadelphia are tied for the National League East lead. The Blue Jays over the Angels 10-2 in the loss home run number 38 for Shohei Ohtani. And from the NFL, the Seahawks cutting veteran defensive end Aldon Smith reportedly for an off-the-field issue. That's sports. Frank Garrity, NBC News Radio.
You're listening to The Drive with Jack Ebling.
When I pick those balls out, I don't want anyone rubbing them. To me, they're perfect.
SpotlightMediaStudios.com.
Well, welcome back. It is The Drive with Jack, the Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Alex Heward. Want to welcome in our next guest, Chase Michelson. Now in Las Vegas, former sports editor of the State News, and he was a contributor to Detroit Free Press. He was also an outstanding intern for us here at Spotlight with Ebling Media. And Alex, you know the thing I liked best about Chase? It was not his choice of allegiances for MLB teams. It was his interest in learning about the past. So many young people, young journalists I run into, think that sports were invented the day they were born, and they don't understand that long before that there was activity and events that set the stage for what was to follow. Chase, I know about your passion for sports history, and we had a passing recently of one of the all-time college football legends in Bobby Bowden. What should we know about Bobby Bowden?
Yeah, I asked you to
that I wanted to talk about Bobby Bowden a little bit, and part of it is because of what he did before I was born, obviously. But you mentioned the whole idea that people kind of only think about what happened after they were born. But to be honest with you, Bobby Bowden was a big part of my childhood also.
Okay.
My father's from South Florida, and I was raised through for the Miami Hurricanes, and the Miami-Florida State rivalry that had started long before I was born was still, maybe not at zenith, but was still important when I was growing up. And that game every year was a major thing. My first coherent memory is in October of 2000. And Florida State misses a field goal, wide right 3 at the time, that would have won the game against Miami. And so Miami wins, and they beat the number 1 team in the country, and my dad throws me up in the air to celebrate. And so that game and that rivalry and Florida State, even though they were the opponents, was something that was really important to me and my father, and it's because of what Bobby Bowden built, right? Miami, on the other side, it was a bunch of different people, Howard Schnellenberger and Jimmy Johnson and Dennis Erickson. But Bobby Bowden, up until whatever it was, 2010 or whatever, was a constant. And he was, he almost single-handedly built that program. People don't realize that Florida State was a girls' school.
That's right. Until
the 40s. There weren't even male students, let alone a successful football program.
Right. That's true.
And Bobby Bowden took over in 1976, a program that has never done anything.
That's right.
and built them into a program that between what was in 1987 and 2000, I'm reading it right now, 14 straight seasons with at least 10 victories and finished in the top 5 of the polls at the end of every season, which nowadays with what Nick Saban is doing in Alabama maybe sounds whatever, but that had never happened before, to my knowledge.
Yeah, it hasn't happened since either, and Alabama hasn't done it. They've had an occasional year where they've slipped just a little bit, but for Bowden to do that, his last 33 years, he didn't have a losing season. So pretty amazing when you think, Chase, that he came in Michigan State the same time as Darryl Rogers, and he lasted through Rogers, Muddy Waters, and George Perlis, Nick Saban, Bobby Williams, John L. Smith, much of Mark D'Antonio. I mean, this is one guy.
Right.
It really is Bobby Bowden University.
Right.
Yeah. And it's funny because his personality was much like Duffy Daugherty's. In fact, they were pretty good friends, and they shared a common perspective that they were going to try to do some things to help disadvantaged coaches and players, and there were some things that Bobby Bowden couldn't do that Duffy could and did. But I had a chance to host him when he came up to receive the Duffy Daugherty Memorial Award, and that was one of the great career highlights for Bobby Bowden, because Duffy brought him in to speak at Coach of the Year clinics around the country. He liked Bobby Bowden's sense of humor and his presentation, so he brought him in to speak to all these high school coaches. And once when he was up in Michigan, I think the clinic was in Battle Creek, I want to say, and he came back to East Lansing, and there was a famous car dealership here called Story Olds. And Duffy arranged for Bobby Bowden to get a good deal on a car, and he bought the car and he drove it all the way back to Tallahassee.
I mean, that's Bobby Bowden for you, right? I mean, that's who else? What can you imagine? Most coaches deciding that they weren't just going to pay to have it shipped.
Sure.
Yeah, that's funny. And you mentioned there's sort of Bobby Bowden's commitment to disadvantaged kids and stuff like that. I think there was criticism in the 90s, and Florida State got in trouble for breaking a lot of rules, and there was the Free Shoes University joke and everything like that, which, look, I get that it was technically against the rules and whatever, but, I mean, I think more and more every year we realize that maybe the rules were the problem.
Yeah, I just saw that defensive lineman coming into Ohio State. He's never played a game. He's already doing truck commercials in Columbus, and he's got the keys to a new truck.
Yeah, he's from Kennedy Catholic High School. It's about 10 minutes from my parents' house.
I also saw today, and this is really ingenious, but they talk about scholarship limits at 85. Someone at BYU has figured out that they're going to get the best walk-ons in the country, and they're going to do this with depth. And they are paying for the education of 36 walk-ons at BYU.
Right. So far, yeah.
So far, yeah.
Right.
So, yeah.
I mean, it's already unfair enough to play BYU, but, you know, when they played Navy at the start of the season last year, Navy hadn't practiced in pads. And I saw, and BYU just ran through them, and somebody said, "Man, this really looks like men against boys." But of course, it was.
It was. It was.
Right.
Yeah. And hey, you know, you got a quarterback who's never started a game at Alabama, and Nick said, you know, he could make $1 million this year.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, and you know, Nick is going to use the system to his advantage, but he's not a fan of that. He would rather have it be a little more closely controlled and monitored, but the toothpaste is out of the tube, as they say.
Yeah, but Nick also would prefer to win games the way he did in 2011.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that doesn't happen anymore. So he said, all right, well, let's get Jalen Hurts. Let's get Tua Tagovailoa.
That's right.
Let's do this.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to talk about baseball for a minute. And tonight, we got the Field of Dreams game between the Yankees and the White Sox. At least one of those teams will be in the playoffs. But when we think about that and Field of Dreams and what that show is going to be like, it's going to be a lot more than a baseball game. You traveled around. Have you ever been to Field of Dreams?
I have not. I've been to Iowa.
Yeah.
Multiple times. I've never been to Dyersville.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if the Kevin Costner character necessarily pictured Andrew Heaney being the starting pitcher in this game, but whatever. That's the state of the Yankees right now.
I've been 3 times, Chase, and it's kind of a funny story because you can get there from Iowa City. We used to go in for Michigan State, Iowa football games in October, and we would always make this pilgrimage on Friday out to Field of Dreams. And you can go out there and play. You can have a catch. You can go out and do lots of stuff on this field. You can take infield. You can walk through the corn. You can do everything you see in the movie. You know, wait for your dad to show up if you want. And the funny part is the property is on 2 people's land, okay? So these families, they hate each other. And they can't agree on what day it is. So, you know, they like at war. It's like the Hatfields and the McCoys, and then one's going to buy the other one out, and then the other one
I was
tries.
going to say, is there anything more Midwest than a good old border dispute?
Oh, this is it. This is it over a baseball field. And, you know, you can do things in right field that you can't do at third base.
Right.
So it's hysterical, but it is definitely worth it. If you ever, I don't know that you ever will, but if you ever get to Iowa and you have a day, go to Field of Dreams, watch the movie again if you haven't already.
Yeah.
And it'll take you right back there. You'll see Kevin Costner.
Well, I think that probably those 2 families found an agreement on whatever Major League Baseball is offering them.
It's called money. Follow the money.
Yeah, they could probably. Yeah, that's. We went from Field of Dreams to All the President's Men there for a second. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
But that applies to every sport. So
yes,
that wisdom. In terms of where the Yankees are right now, I'm looking at the current Major League Baseball standings and what we have. Teams that are in the playoff right now, the Tigers, and watch these Tigers. I'm not going to make it, but they're ahead of the Orioles again, 6-2. And they have the 5th best record in baseball since the All-Star break. The 2nd best record in Tigers history after the All-Star break in the last 32 years. But as you think about the teams that are not in the playoffs now. Give me one team that's going to vault from out of the playoffs to in the playoffs in these last 45 games.
Well, it's not going to be the Cubs.
No.
I don't know if you saw
Pretty
that
safe.
there was like a one of the executives of the Cubs said in 2022 we don't think we're quote going to be that bad. So buy your season tickets.
I love that
Not
slogan.
gonna be that
We're
bad.
not going to be as bad as you think. Give me your money. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think the obvious place I think to look is the National League East, right? Like it's so muddled up at the top.
Yeah.
So I can't even tell you other than instead of looking exactly who is leading right now. It's
Philadelphia.
Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, there's three teams within a game, and then there's one wild card or one spot. Wild card's obviously going to come from the West.
Right. Both the wild card teams are going to come from the West.
Right. Why couldn't the Mets win that division?
They could.
If DeGrom comes
So could
back,
Atlanta.
If DeGrom comes back, I think that's certainly a possibility. That on paper that team is stacked.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I part of the thing with the Mets is that it's such a it's a psychological problem.
Yeah.
Like, Mets fans are a self-loathing bunch.
Yeah.
And they don't believe in their team. And so when things go wrong, they have the tendency to snowball because Mets fans think that things are going to go wrong always.
Right.
And so, like, they're a game out of first place.
And they're usually
it's
right.
really not that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who wins more games when it's all said and done, the Mets or the Yankees?
The Yankees. The Mets are 3 games over 500. Yankees are 12.
So they're 4 games behind the Yankees now, and the Yankees are only 2 games out behind Boston, which should be the last wild card team. Right? Yeah. Boston. Although both these teams won their last game, but when you look at that, who's to say the Yankees couldn't catch fire? They could.
Boston's trailing 3-1 in the 6th inning.
All right. Puts them even closer. If they lose that one, then they're only a game and a half ahead of New York. And one thing you know about Boston fans, too, is they can feel that hot breath of the Yankees in the back of their neck.
And since 1978.
Yeah, absolutely. So if I offered you a bet on winning the World Series and I gave you the Dodgers plus one other team or the field, what would you take?
The field.
You would?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's baseball.
If I offered you the Dodgers to win the National League as opposed to the field, who would you take?
I don't get another team?
No, just one. You just get the Dodgers. Did the Dodgers make the World Series? That's the bet.
And it's what are my odds? Is it just even money?
Even.
Yeah, the field.
The field. Okay. All right.
I get the Padres. I get the Giants. I get the Brewers.
Yeah.
And I get whoever comes out of that National League East mess.
Yeah, if you want them.
And particularly, frankly, if it's the Mets because of the pitching.
Yeah, that's true. All right, last offer for you. Right now, the Giants, the miraculous Giants, are 4.5 games ahead of the Dodgers. Dodgers cannot possibly spend any more money unless they get gold-plated toilet paper in Dodger Stadium. Are you taking the Dodgers or the Giants to win the West? Giants are up 4.5 games.
So win the West, the team that's up 4.5 games.
Okay.
With a month and a half left, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, well, I've seen, Bobby Thompson. This could happen. You never know.
For sure.
All right.
Wouldn't that have been, hold on a second, that was the Giants winning the pennant.
It was. It's just the reversal. That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
It's the opposite, yeah.
That's maybe they owe him one. That's right.
Right.
Chase, good to talk to you. Glad your phone is clear this week.
Yeah, that was not good last week.
That's good news. Enjoy the game tonight. And want to thank all of our guests today. Want to thank Amp Campbell. Want to thank Karen Sadler. Justin Kane for joining us as well. Have a great night, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hi, this is